Well, now I want to turn to Tom Farrell, who is going to show us a new model that he is working on, scratch building. And next week, then he'll come back and finish up the John Allen engine house. But this week, it'll be a different project. So, Tom, welcome.
I will return to my John Allen engine house next show, finish that thing up. This was a neat scratch build that I did a while ago. It's an ode to Len Eberwein and Jason Jensen, two modelers you may or may not know. Probably a lot of people know Jason Jensen. He has, anyway, I respect those two modelers very much. So I built this structure in honor of them. This thing started out, I purchased these castings off of a site in eBay, and I put them away in a box. And after my move, I opened them up and they were broken. They were plaster castings that had fractured. So I thought, well, it's a series of extra steps, but I'll show you how I repaired this. I braced the living daylights out of it. I glued them together with yellow glue, and then let it dry overnight. And then I went back with a slurry of plaster of Paris, a very soupy slurry, and I painted the cracks. Well, first I dampened the cracks with a wet paper towel. Then I painted the cracks with this slurry that I came up with. It dried fairly quickly. And then with a dental tool, I went back and hand carved where I'd filled in with the cracks. And you can't tell where the cracks are, they're gone. This was one of the ones that was cracked. So if you do buy these plaster castings and they crack, it's not the end of the world. You can glue them back together with yellow glue, mix up a slurry of plaster of Paris, and just paint it into the crack. Let it dry, and then simply carve it out. Now, I put this plywood on these two sides. I was really fearful that it would crack again, and so I braced the front. I didn't have the luxury of putting plywood on the front because of all the windows, but the sides are pretty much window free. So the plywood is I just covered the back of this plywood with yellow glue, placed the plywood against the back of the plaster casting, and voila, I had a very strong model again. I like to build these things for the next millennium. So then I began the build out here. As you see, everything I build is on a piece of plywood, and with no plans at all, just out of my head, I decided there'd be two buildings here off to the left, and they'll be connected by a bridge. That was my scheme. So the first thing I did is I wanted a platform. So I boxed this in with 1/4-inch basswood, 2 high, to make a platform for my decking here. It's going to appear as though it's a concrete deck. I put a lot of plywood on here because I'm gonna skin this with a styrene, and I didn't want it to flex, and I didn't want it to move. So I skinned it with a 0.010 styrene, and then I went back and I scored it with my modeling square and a dental tool. I scored it to represent cast concrete. Well, it's a really nice technique. It's actually 020 material, not 010 material. And I super glued the styrene to the wood. You can see it's roughly a 1/2 inch high. And then I painted it with a primer, that light primer from Tamaya. And then but we'll get to that in a minute. So this is all scored, makes for a very effective cast concrete platform. Then I went back and I started coloring these plaster castings. This has always been a challenge of mine to work plaster models and to effectively paint them. I've just always had trouble with this, and this was a new technique. I thinned artist acrylic paint this time with simply water, and I did a series of washes of burnt umber, just assortment of browns, and then I finished with a darker alcohol wash. And this brickwork here I did with the same technique, just a red wash of acrylic artist colors. They're just getting a little more finished. I did go back and color some individual stones for variety, but I was satisfied with the look of that. Again, I just always felt challenged with this sort of modeling. The more you do it, the better you get. This was the next building I built. This is just my conventional modeling style. I just take clapboard siding and I brace it with that 1/4-inch material again, and super glue it onto the structure. I don't have all my normal photos to get you from point A to point B, but anybody that's watched my program knows I start with base colors, which are typically fairly obnoxious because they're like a very bright or very dark green. And then I scratch it with a wire brush. I hit it with a alcohol wash, a black alcohol wash, and then I dry brush it with a white acrylic. And that's all this is. It's really just a 3-step process. You can see over here on the right, I've painted the lintels green. And you can see, as I said before, I painted some of the stones different colors to get a little variety in there. So it's just not one bland color. Now this is clapboard siding, this vertical siding that has it's supposed to simulate these boards going up. But I wanted to place that building right up next to this. So I physically I shaved the clapboard siding off of the model so that the next building, it's a 3-building model, would fit flush against that wall. Otherwise, it'd stick out about 1/16 of an inch. So there it is, right up against that's actually before that's the before picture. See how in here the clapboard siding is keeping this from going flush. So I shaved this with a flat X-Acto blade, and you'll see it fits pretty flush. And then this is my standard operating procedure. Everything's braced with 1/4-inch material. And now you can see right here, see how flush that is? Just a simple technique, but a nice little detail. And here is the start of painting the concrete. So I sprayed to the right there is that flat light primer from Tamaya. And then with acrylic colors, I just faded several colors into the center of these slabs. And then I went back with a black or a very dark gray, Payne's gray color, and filled in the cracks and just feathered it off left and right. Made for a nice technique. This is simply a brown alcohol wash, straight out of the bottle. And in the inside, I always paint everything a flat acrylic black. It's absolute black because I don't detail the insides of my models typically. I'm gonna quit using my mouse here. So next up was starting the roof, and we'll just work left or work right to left. Put a little bridge to connect these, connect this stone building with these. This is to appear as if it's an addition, and this is yet another addition. So this thing, according to the casting, was 1859, and in my head, they added this building, and then they put a bridge across here, and I put in this roadway, if you will. And then they added yet another building, was the concept that they just kept expanding to the left. And here's more of that technique of simply feathering colors into the middle of these individual slabs that were scored with a dental tool. There's the unfinished here. Now, this material here I got from a dollhouse. I went to Hobby Lobby, and in their dollhouse section, I found this really neat trim, and we'll have a close-up of that later. But there are dollhouses that are made in 1/4-inch scale, and I found this trim, and I thought, oh, it looked really fancy to put up there on top of my building, and it really came off nice. And then I wanted to put this roof in with these 2x12s. And again, I cut the clapboard siding out so this piece here would fit flush. And then I just built this, stick built this. There's a close-up. This mouse is really sensitive. Okay. Now here's another, I was going to put some trim eventually after the roof is covered with shingles. I'm going to put a 2x6 here. So I had to go back with my flat blade and cut a little bit more out of that wall there so that my trim would fit flush. Otherwise, there'd be a gap there, which wouldn't look right. So there it is before the cut. And there it is after the cut. Yeah. And this is 1/16 inch plywood. Just a little simple technique so everything looks flush. Then I shingled this with those are actual wooden shakes that I got from they're like a Campbell, old style Campbell shake. Don't recall where I got them. But the purpose of this photo here is to show you that just how flush that trim piece fits. So there's the model shaping up. This is a nice detail. You know, sometimes we don't think of crossing over to another hobby to find components, but that's just dollhouse material. I mean, it looks pretty nice to me. And these are Grant Line windows. Oh, geez, sorry, this damn mouse. It's my notebook computer. It's pretty sensitive. Sorry. So, yeah, these are Grant Line windows, and this is a Grant Line hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this I got at a train show. This is an N scale water tower. I tore it apart. This mouse is going to drive me crazy. I tore it apart, and I built this platform in white plastic. It's to simulate basically steel. And then that orange part is part of the original plastic N scale water tower. And I wanted to put this on the roof as a roof detail. And it painted up pretty nice. I mean, look at the before and after. You know. And Again, it's N scale. I'm modeling an O scale. And it just made for a nice. So now when I go to train shows, I'm on the lookout for these N scale water towers so I can put them on the roof of my O scale structures.
It's a great idea. Great idea. I hate to rush you, but we're out of time.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll zip through. We're about done here. So I'll just go through the photos here, show you the finished model. Put some pictures in the back, and I had to hand make those windows. This didn't come with, so those are truly scratch built windows. There's a detail of
That's neat.
there's the sign I made for my two modelers. That's really nice, and some roof details. There's looking down at the roof. At one point, Jim said, "Why do you model?" or asked me why I model the roofs with such detail. It's the first thing you see when
Yep.
you're walking into a layout, as you look at the tops of the roofs. So I put a lot of detail on them. There's an up close of the molding. So that's crossover. There's a walkway through the bridge with that's just cotton there, and there's that water tower all weathered up with a ladder put on there. And that's the finished model.
Boy, that cotton's a nice touch.
The what? Oh, the cotton. Yeah. So anyway, there she go. Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Tom? Boy, it's a beautiful model, Tom. It really is.
Well, thank you. And
Particularly the roof detail.
next time I'll finish up the John Allen engine house when I'm back home with computers that don't jump around with mouses.
Have a safe trip. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, guys.